Last month, my wife and I flew in her sister and her family of two to help us raise our 2-month-old daughter. We're a working couple, but she's still on her maternity leave. The tension began when sister and family needed to do a visa run. Basically what that is they need to leave where we are and fly to another country so that they could get a visa to stay here. Since we were asking them for a favor to help us out with our daughter, at first, I didn't mind that my wife was the one booking their plane tickets and hotel accommodation for the visa run. But then, instead of a smooth in and out process, the thing became one problem after another. First, we dropped them off at the airport and they realized they need a visa to enter the country they're going to. We all thought it was visa-free. So my wife spends our money to get their visa expedited. That also meant we had to rebook their flights with, guess what? Our money. Second, this morning on the return leg, my wife received a notification from the airline that the flight is delayed, so she passes on the message to her sister. Her sister then decides to arrive at the airport at a later time because the delay was 3+ hours. However, what my wife and her sister failed to notice is a clause in the notification which states that the check-in time remains the same. So when sis and family go to the airport, the check-in gate was closed and they couldn't board. So again, my wife spends our money to book new flights for them, plus new hotel accommodation for a couple of days. All told, 80% of our savings are gone just because of this whole exercise. She did apologize to me over spending our money, but I just can't shake the feeling of, we worked our butt off for that savings, and God knows we need it. The real kicker in my nuts is that she's considering leaving her job to take care of our daughter, which would leave me as the sole source of income in the household. We're already at a situation where I only keep less than 5% of my paycheck and give everything to bills and towards our savings. But after this whole visa run, I'm hours away from telling off my wife to stop babying her older sister over this. I mean, the sister and her husband prepared savings for their journey to help us out. Why don't they spend it? Is it because we're the ones asking for a favor? Anyways, that's my predicament now. I haven't spoken to my wife yet since I woke up and headed to work. I'm still ambivalent how I feel about this because I feel my decision in the next couple of hours could mean I'm a husband that doesn't understand, or I'm a wuss for letting my wife spend all our money just like that. Now for an update. I had a conversation with my wife, and it was a weight off my shoulders. We decided together to set boundaries with how much we're spending towards our in-laws. I haven't opened up the matter of her quitting her job. One problem at a time. Some extra info. Yes, I drive a Mustang, owned it for 3 years. My wife helped me buy it, and it's going to be paid off in 2 months. I also collect die-cast, using that 5% of my salary. Everything else goes to bills and to savings. The savings I'm talking about here was meant for us to migrate elsewhere, but now it looks like we're back to square one in terms of saving up. We live in the United Arab Emirates. Now for another update. Thanks everyone for making me realize this is the price I pay for being disengaged in the process. I should have done my due diligence and helped my wife out with checking and verifying information. Plus, I never thought of looking at it from an employer/employee perspective, since they're family, so I looked at it through that. Your comments made me realize it's not a you deal with your family, I deal with mine type of deal. We as a couple gotta look out for each other's backs. Now for a final update. We might get some money back because the airline they initially had booked is willing to give us a refund. Apparently, other passengers got affected by the 3+ hour delay and missed the plane. Silver lining, I guess. This is my final update from now. Man, everyone here has been brutally honest, and it stings, yes, but it's much needed. Thank you all. Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Have you considered maybe, just maybe, to take some responsibility for not double-checking these things yourself? You're all, my sister-in-law didn't notice, and my wife didn't notice either. If getting it wrong is such a blow to your finances, you should have double and triple checked, especially after your sister-in-law showed that attention to detail isn't her strong suit the first time. By the way, those finances weren't in a great place to start. And no, I'm not bothered that you bought a Mustang. I'm bothered that you have to drive and upkeep one, They're beautiful, but they're a money pit. You're the idiot for solely blaming your wife and in-laws and not seeing what you could have done differently. Comment 2. So, if 80% of your savings can be eaten up by 3 extra plane tickets and expedited visas, it sounds like you don't actually have a lot of savings. You both must be under a lot of stress right now. And it sucks that you're dealing with your stress by getting mad at her, and she's dealing with her stress by trying to get her family into the country to help, even if it eats your savings. But this situation doesn't sound like one of carelessness, but one of desperation. You two need to learn to talk about your stresses and make a game plan in both of your interests. I'm going with ESH. Now for the update. A week and a half later, the airline actually came through with a partial refund after looking into the whole delay mess. I was honestly surprised because I thought we were just screwed. So my wife and I decided to use the refund to put some of our savings back together. We figured every little bit helps, you know? My wife's sister and her family made it back home safely, but they seemed kind of distant around us. Like, I get it, they're all about family and helping out, but I was just waiting for something bad to happen. My wife's sister even brought up that they were thinking about moving closer to us. That made me feel super uneasy because of all the financial issues we had to deal with. I don't want to go through that again. We ended up hosting a family dinner to celebrate our daughter hitting the 1-month milestone. My wife's sister's family came over, and they brought this homemade dessert that was actually good. During dinner, my wife's sister's husband threw out this comment about how I should be helping more financially. I felt the heat rising at the table, but kept my mouth shut. I didn't want to start anything in front of everyone. After dinner, my wife pulled me aside to talk about what her sister's husband said. I told her I was worried about her sister's influence on spending habits. My wife just suggested that we should be supportive of her sister's family. The next day, I found this receipt for a huge purchase that my wife made. It was for a vacation planned with her sister's family. I brought this up during dinner with my wife, asking about our budget and if this was part of it. The conversation got heated fast, and my wife was defending her choices like crazy. Then my wife's sister overheard us and jumped in, taking her sister's side. I was feeling really cornered by both of them. It was not a good place to be. My wife's sister then accused me of being unsupportive of their family. I just left the table, frustrated and in disbelief, feeling like I was losing my mind. My wife followed me outside, trying to calm the whole situation down. I admitted to her that I felt totally overwhelmed and didn't know how to manage the finances anymore. That's when she suggested we go see a financial planner for some advice. Later that week, I found out that my wife's sister's family was in really bad financial shape, like really bad. I confronted my wife about her sister's spending habits affecting our plans. We ended up agreeing to set stricter boundaries about the financial help her sister needed. Then my wife's sister called to talk about their vacation plans, insisting we go together. I told my wife that I wasn't comfortable with that idea. She seemed really torn between supporting her sister and sticking to our financial goals. A family gathering was planned for the weekend, and my wife's sister was going to be there. I was getting ready for a potential confrontation during the family gathering. At the gathering, my wife's sister brought up the vacation in front of everyone. I calmly explained our financial situation to the family without making a big deal out of it. After a tense moment, they seemed to get where I was coming from. My wife's sister's husband, though, hinted at their family needing help financially. The gathering ended with my wife's sister just quietly withdrawing from the conversation. I feel like I'm stuck in this awkward family drama that just won't end. My wife and I agreed on some boundaries, but her sister keeps pushing to get us to help her family out. It's such a mess, and I have no idea how to get out of it. My wife gets upset if I bring it up, but we seriously can't afford to be anyone's ATM. This whole thing just makes me nervous, and I don't know where it's all going to lead. I just want some peace, and for everyone to stop trying to pressure us into spending money we don't have. Awaiting developments. I just want this financial mess to clear up, but I'm not sure if her sister is going to back off anytime soon. Edit. We discussed the vacation proposal with my wife, and she agreed with my concerns. We also noticed that her sister's family was living beyond their means. My wife plans to talk to her sister about their spending habits soon. We're hoping for a resolution, but it's been a little tense lately. Am I the idiot for refusing to give my deceased dad's toys to my half-sisters and standing up to my mom's manipulative tactics? Am I the idiot for hiding my sentimental toys from my mom so she couldn't give them to my half-sisters? I, 17-year-old female, always had this small collection of sentimental toys that my dad brought home for me whenever he'd travel for work. There were plushies, figurines of characters I loved, dioramas of worlds from my favorite things. For example, I have a Narnia diorama. I had them decorating my room for years. I took them down when my mom gave birth to my 5-year-old half-sister because she was in my room for a year. This stuff means so much more to me because my dad died when I was 8. I clung to those memories of him within the toys he brought me, and I hated taking them down. But I would rather have them stored and not see them than have something break. 7 or 8 months ago, my mom suggested I pick out a little something from my collection and give something to each of my half-sisters. She told me it would go a long way to making them feel like I care, even though I'm really disinterested in them. It's true that I am disinterested in them. I told my mom they were too sentimental and special for me to give away like that. The only people who one day might get them are my future kids if they're into any of the stuff I was into as a kid. My mom took that badly, and she told me that I'm going to get older, and maybe one day I'll wish I had allowed myself to love my half-siblings instead of being so detached and territorial of stuff from my dad with them. I told her it could happen. She said I should be proactive and reduce any regret I could feel when that time comes. After that talk, I called up my uncle, my dad's brother, and I asked him if he would take the toys and keep them safe for me. He agreed easily, and when my mom and her husband were at work and my half-sisters were at preschool, I gave him the boxes with those things. He promised he would keep them safe, and I've seen them at his house since, so they're safe. But I didn't tell my mom what I did. My mom brought up the toys several more times since that time, and I always kept my answer as no. Then a few days ago, she was like, "Where the hell are they?" after telling me something. Lion King for my first half-sister would be amazing, and my Appa plush would be best for my youngest half-sister because she loves cute animals. I told Mom I had them safe. She asked what the hell that meant. I said she was really obsessed with me giving something to my half-sisters, and I wasn't taking chances that she would pick something out to give to them behind my back but say they were from me. So I asked a trusted person to keep them safe. She told me I had no business taking those toys out of the house without permission, and she told me I'm basically screaming at everyone that I don't love my half-sisters and want nothing to do with them with my actions. She told me she had long ago realized how I felt, but she expects me to not show it to the kids. It got really heated, and her husband told Mom I should be grounded. She said there was no point because I wouldn't learn. Am I the jerk? Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. You're not the jerk. Your mom's obsession with your precious mementos of your dad is just weird. To anyone but you, they are just toys that can be purchased just about anywhere. In other words, to your sisters, the gifts would be the same, whether it's one of those or a new one. It hints to me that she wants to minimize who your dad was to you, if not erase him a bit. That is just so wrong on so many levels. She told me I had no business taking those toys out of the house without permission. Bull. They are yours, and you have every right to protect them. Comment 2. Not the jerk. No one has any right to those sentimental things except you. It's crazy that your mom is so insistent that you give them up. She should be helping you keep your memories of your dad safe, not try to erase them. You did the right thing because they would have been given away while you were out. Even when you move out, your mom might try to push the togetherness. Stay strong and good luck. Now for the update. A couple weeks have passed since the argument about the toys with my mom. It's been pretty awkward in the house. I mean, we eat at the same table, but no one really talks. Just fork clinking against plates and sighs. It sucks. My birthday is coming up, though. Honestly, I forgot about it with everything else going on. My mom insists on throwing me a big party to lift everyone's spirits. I kind of rolled my eyes at that. It sounds more like a distraction than anything else. But she really wants to do it, and I figured maybe it would ease the strain between us. So I reluctantly agreed to it. Invitations went out, and we started planning the menu and decorations. I thought it would be a good way to get out of the funk we're all in. My uncle offered to help with the party prep, knowing how much the toys mean to me. He still can't believe my mom has been trying to get me to give them away. He thinks it should be my decision when I'm ready, not something I should be forced into. I agree. But then a few days before the party, I overheard my mom on the phone. She was talking about making things right with the half-sisters. Right then, I felt a knot tighten in my stomach. I just knew she would try to use the party as a way to push the toys onto my half-sisters. I wasn't about to let that happen. During the party setup, I was going through my mom's closet to find some decorations. I came across a box labeled "Gifts for the Girls." My heart dropped. I opened the box and saw some of my toys inside. These were things she had secretly taken while I was at my uncle's. I was beyond furious. I marched downstairs to confront her about the box. This led to another heated argument. My mom claims she was only trying to create a loving environment for all the kids. She said it like she was some kind of saint for wanting everyone to be happy. I told her she's being a hypocrite because she was happy to step on my feelings for the sake of the kids. I was done. I felt so betrayed. I stormed out of the house, deciding to take a walk to cool off. I ended up running into my older brother, Jake, and his wife, Rachel. They were walking their dog, and they looked surprised to see me so upset. I explained the situation, and they expressed their concern about the ongoing conflict. They think my mom is being unreasonable. Jake suggested a family meeting after the party to discuss the toys and everyone's feelings. I reluctantly agreed, seeing it as a chance to clarify my stance. Back at home, the party started, and guests began arriving. My half-sisters were there, and it was kind of awkward. I tried to engage with other family members, but I kept feeling my mom's eyes on me, like daggers. The half-sisters seemed excited, but I felt like there was this wall between us. During the cake cutting, my mom made a toast about family, which felt so forced. I mean, come on, the whole thing was fake. She was trying to make everyone feel good about the crap she was pulling. I felt cornered when my mom brought up the idea of sharing my toys with the half-sisters during the toast. She was watching me like a hawk, waiting for me to say yes. The half-sisters looked at me expectantly, and I felt this surge of pressure. I could hear my heart pounding in my ears. After the toast, the half-sisters came up to me, asking about the toys. They seemed genuinely interested, which made me feel even worse. I tried to explain their importance, but they looked confused. My mom intervened, suggesting the toys could bring them closer together. I stood firm, saying I couldn't give them away. It was like someone hit the pause button in the room, and all the air got sucked out. The party wrapped up, with my mom visibly upset and guests leaving in a hurry. Everyone was polite, but you could tell they were uncomfortable. I felt drained. I headed to my room, where I found my uncle waiting to talk. He looked at me like he knew I needed to vent. He advised me to prepare for the family meeting, emphasizing the need for clarity. I'm just really struggling with how to approach this family meeting. I don't want to feel like the bad guy for wanting to keep my stuff, but I also feel like I need to stand my ground. My mom is so determined to make me give stuff up, and I just don't understand why she can't let me decide when I'm ready. I don't want to hurt her feelings or ruin the family dynamic, but at the same time, I feel like I have to put myself first for once. I'm not doing well, so any advice would be much appreciated. Mini update. My uncle had a serious talk with me about my mom's behavior and the upcoming family meeting. He believes I should set clear boundaries and be honest about my feelings. He also mentioned that my dad's family might support me. I'm not sure what that means, but I'm considering it. Am I the idiot for calling out my friend's leech brother and refusing to apologize? Am I the idiot for refusing to apologize to the guy who keeps trying to embarrass me? I, 24-year-old male, was invited to my friend's dinner party. about 10 people in total. There is one guy, 22-year-old male, there who I've never liked. He is a leech and an overall jerk. He is the younger brother of one of the people in our friend group. The reason why I hate him is because of how often he asks for money from me, his older brother, and the rest of the group. When I first met this kid, he called me the day after at 3 a.m., asking me to come pick him up from the bar because he was drunk, almost like I was obligated to do so. Another time, I picked him up to grab food for a past dinner party we had. He bought chips and a bunch of other snacks, but then stuffed them in his backpack and didn't bring them to the get-together. He didn't buy anything for the party. He constantly asks the entire friend group for money for his rap singing career, even though he works part-time for his dad cleaning toilets. The list goes on. Come the dinner party. He called me out during the dinner for being a bum over something we were talking about. I replied to him that he doesn't want to start anything with me, to which he started calling out all my flaws and making fun of my current job. It's corporate, but for a small company. Not really sure why he made fun of it, to be honest. We were drinking beers and stuff, so maybe he was drunk, which I said to him and told him to relax, but he kept pressing the matter over nothing. I sat up in my seat and reminded him that he is a freaking loser. I started by saying, "Do you know how much of a freaking loser you are? You leech off your brother and the rest of us. You do absolutely nothing but beg for money for your stupid freaking music career that isn't going anywhere, and you work as a toilet cleaner for your daddy. Shut the frick up." I was really pissed off, man. I can't lie. For him to try and embarrass me like that in front of everyone just set me off. It got really quiet, and I told him, "Don't ever try and embarrass me in front of a group of people like that, you freaking loser." He ended up just kind of looking down and sitting there. Dinner went back to normal after maybe 15 minutes, and then we all went home. His older brother says he knows his younger brother was out of line, but he said that his brother is aware of his current situation and was most likely just lashing out because of how his life is turning out. He asked me to just talk to him and apologize. I am absolutely willing to talk to him, but I am not apologizing for anything. We can have a civil one-on-one conversation to determine why he thought it was a good idea to try and embarrass me and continue to do so after I told him to stop. If he wants to apologize to me, that's fine. Friend called me heartless, said that I am kicking someone while they are down. Friend group is pretty split. Some say I was being too mean. The other half are saying it was a good reality check for him and that he also was way out of line for absolutely no reason. Am I the jerk? Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1, not the idiot. You gave him multiple opportunities to shut that down. He chose not to take them. To everyone saying, everyone sucks here, what exactly was OP supposed to do? He had already told him multiple times to drop it and relax. Dude pushed it, so OP pushed back. He did nothing wrong standing up for himself. Comment 2, not the idiot. Just because someone is going through it doesn't give them a blank slate to be a jerk to other people and still require to treat them with kindness. If his brother was truly aware of his situation, he would know he's in no place to be a jerk to people about their situations. Now, for the update. 2 weeks after the dinner party where the argument happened, I got a group text from my friend group about a camping trip to a lake nearby. The younger brother was part of the group text too, and I was not feeling it at all. I spent a lot of time thinking about whether or not to go, but in the end, I decided to just go for the sake of my friends. I know, I'm a better person than most. When I got to the campsite, I said hi to everyone, but I saw the younger brother was already on his way to being drunk. Just my luck, right? The first night, we had games around the campfire like we always do, but I could feel the weird vibe. The younger brother made a couple of snide comments aimed at me, but most of the group just ignored it. At one point, he got really loud and accused me of being too uptight right in front of everyone. Yeah, I just stayed quiet. I wasn't about to make things worse. Later that night, when I was trying to sleep, I heard him talking to some friends about how he was planning to expose me. Great, just what I need. The next day, we went hiking, and of course, the younger brother kept trying to provoke me. I just focused on the hike and avoided dealing with him. During lunch on the hike, he made a big scene about needing money for his music career again. I just sat there and watched as some of my friends sadly handed him some cash. That evening, after dinner, he wanted to challenge me to a friendly game of truth or dare. I thought, why not? It can't be that bad. During the game, he dared me to share an embarrassing story from my past. So, I told this lighthearted story about how I got really drunk at a wedding and danced like an idiot. But he twisted it to make fun of me. You know, the usual. Then he called me a has-been and laughed with his friends. That's when my patience was running out, and I stood up to face him again, but a friend stopped me and said we should all just chill. The younger brother took that as a win and kept making fun of me all night. The next morning, I woke up to find my stuff moved around and some snacks were missing. I suspected the younger brother was behind it, but I had no proof. Back home, I got a call from his older brother, asking to talk about the camping trip. He said the younger brother was feeling hurt and wanted to clear the air. Yeah, right. A few days later, I got an invite to a birthday party for a mutual friend, and guess who was invited too? The younger brother. I thought about skipping the party, but I figured dealing with him head-on would be better. At the party, he came up to me and tried to act all friendly, but it was super fake. I noticed some of my friends whispering about how his behavior was bothering them and affecting the group. Things got awkward again when he loudly challenged me to prove I could handle a real job. I kept my cool, but the people around us looked uncomfortable. The party ended on a weird note, and a lot of us were feeling off because of his antics. Days later, I learned from a group chat that the younger brother had been spreading rumors about me. The friends were debating whether to confront him or just let it go, which was dividing the group. To answer a few questions, I did not confront the younger brother about the rumors. I felt it was better for others to talk to him than me. I also didn't want to risk getting blamed again. The rumors were about my job and relationships. Some friends don't believe him. If you liked this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.